Imagine this. Right now, the sun is shining. Its light has been traveling for about 8 minutes just to reach your eyes. It feels constant, permanent, eternal. But what if, in the very next moment, the sun simply disappeared? No explosion, no warning, no sound, just gone. Globe showing Europe, Africa the first 8 minutes, nothing changes. Here's the strange part. For the next 8 minutes and 20 seconds, nothing happens. Everything continues as normal. Why? Because of a fundamental rule of physics. Light takes time to travel. The sunlight you see right now is already on its way, even if the sun vanished instantly. We wouldn't know immediately. For 8 minutes, Earth continues living in a lie, balance gravity's final reach. But it's not just light. Gravity also travels at the speed of light. That means Earth is still being held in orbit. Even though the sun is already gone, for those 8 minutes, we are still circling something that no longer exists. Hourglass, not done the exact moment everything changes. And then, at exactly 8 minutes and 20 seconds later, everything changes. The sunlight stops instantly. No sunset, no fading light, just darkness, total, absolute darkness. New moon, a world without light. The sky turns black, not dark blue, not twilight, black. Stars become visible instantly, even during what used to be daytime. The moon, gone from sight, because it reflects sunlight. Without the sun, it disappears into darkness. The first temperature drop. At first you might think, it's just night. But it's not, because the sun isn't coming back. Within minutes, temperatures begin to fall, slowly at first, but steadily, because Earth has just lost its only natural heat source. Tornado, the atmosphere reacts. Without sunlight heating the surface, air currents begin to change, winds shift, weather patterns collapse. The entire climate system starts breaking down. Globe showing Europe, Africa, Earth leaves its orbit. At the same moment, the light disappears. Something even more important happens. Earth is no longer orbiting the sun. Instead of circling, it starts moving in a straight line through space. At about 67,000 miles per hour, we are now a rogue planet, drifting alone into deep space. Fearful face the psychological impact. For humans, if they existed in this scenario, the effect would be terrifying. One moment it's day, the next moment, the sun is gone. No explanation, no hope, just darkness in just a few minutes. The most important object in our existence has vanished. Light is gone, gravity is gone, and Earth is no longer part of a solar system. This is not just a disaster, it's the beginning of the end. It has now been a few minutes since the sun disappeared. And for the first time in billions of years, Earth is in complete darkness. Not night, not shadow, but something deeper. A darkness the planet has never experienced before. Minute 1 after darkness. The moment sunlight vanishes, the world changes instantly. Cities that were bright just seconds ago are suddenly forced into artificial light. Streetlights turn on automatically. Buildings glow from electricity. Cars switch on headlights. For a moment, it looks like humanity is in control, but this illusion won't last. Milky Way, the sky becomes alien. Look up, the sky no longer looks familiar. Stars fill every inch of it, even during what used to be daytime. The Milky Way stretches clearly across the sky. Something most people have never seen before, but there's something missing. No blue sky. No sunlight, no warmth, just a cold, endless universe. Globe showing Europe, Africa, Earth's motion changes. At the same time, Earth is no longer orbiting anything. It's moving forward into space. At an incredible speed, about 107,000 kilometers per hour. There is no path, no destination, just drifting. Thermometer hour 1, the temperature begins to fall. At first, you might not feel it, but the heat loss has already begun. Earth still holds some warmth from the sun, but without incoming energy. That heat is escaping into space. Temperatures start dropping, not instantly freezing, but steadily declining every minute. Colder than the last, cityscape cities in panic. If humans were present, this is when panic would begin. People would realize this isn't a normal night. Phones would light up with confusion. News channels would try to explain, but there is no explanation, no storm, no eclipse, no natural event. The sun is simply gone. High-voltage power systems under stress. As fear spreads, electricity demand skyrockets. Everyone turns on lights, heaters, devices. Power grids struggle to keep up. Some areas begin to experience blackouts, others overload. The system starts to crack, and once power goes out, it may never come back. Water wave, the oceans hold heat, while land cools quickly. The oceans react differently. Water holds heat much longer, so for now, the oceans remain relatively stable, but this won't last forever. They are slowly losing heat too, and when they do, the change will be massive. Wind atmosphere begins to shift. Without sunlight heating different parts of Earth, temperature differences start disappearing. Winds change direction. Storm systems weaken. The entire climate engine of Earth begins shutting down. Weather as we know it starts to fade. Paw prints. Animals react instinctively. Animals don't understand what's happening, but they feel it. Birds stop flying. No sunlight means no navigation. Many become confused, disoriented. Nocturnal animals come out, but even they sense something is wrong. Because this night doesn't behave like night, it doesn't end. Hour 6, cold becomes noticeable. After several hours, the temperature drop becomes obvious. It's no longer comfortable. Breath becomes visible in cold regions. Frost begins forming in some places. In warmer regions, the change is slower. But it's coming, relentless, unstoppable. Globe showing Europe, Africa, hour 12, half a day without the sun. Now half a day has passed. Earth is colder, darker, quieter. The sky remains unchanged, filled with stars. But the psychological weight is growing heavier because people realize something terrifying. The sun hasn't come back, and it's not going to. The realization. At this point, humanity understands the truth. This isn't temporary. This isn't a delay. This is permanent. The source of all life, all energy, all warmth is gone. Hour 24, the first full day. After 24 hours, the average global temperature drops significantly. It's still survivable in many places, but the trend is clear. Earth is cooling fast. The process has begun, and it cannot be stopped in just one day. The world has entered a new reality. No sun, no future of warmth, only a slow descent into cold and darkness. But this is just the beginning, because in the coming days, temperatures will fall even faster, oceans will begin to freeze, and life will face its greatest challenge. It has now been several days since the sun disappeared. No sunrise, no sunset, no warmth, just an endless, unchanging night. And now, the real effects are beginning to show. Thermometer day 2, the cold tightens its grip. By the second day, temperatures have dropped significantly. On average, the Earth's surface is now close to 0 degrees C, 32 degrees F in many regions. Cold regions are already far below freezing. Water on roads begins to freeze. Puddles turn into ice. In colder countries, entire landscapes begin to harden into frozen ground. But this is only the beginning. Day 3, ice spreads across the planet. By the third day, freezing becomes widespread. Rivers begin to freeze at the edges. Lakes form thin layers of ice in places that were once warm. People experience cold they've never felt before. Without sunlight, there is no recovery. No daytime warmth, every hour. Colder than the last. High voltage power becomes survival. At this point, electricity becomes the most valuable resource. Heating systems are running constantly. People depend on power to survive, but there's a problem. Power plants were never designed for this. Fuel supplies are limited, maintenance is impossible, and systems are beginning to fail. Blackouts spread, city by city, region by region. Darkness grows deeper. Cityscape cities turn into frozen zones. Without power, cities begin to die. Buildings become cold traps. Inside temperatures drop rapidly. Water pipes freeze and burst. Walls crack, structures weaken. What once protected people now becomes dangerous. Staying inside is no longer safe, but going outside is worse. When the atmosphere slows down, without the sun driving weather systems, the atmosphere begins to calm. Winds weaken, storms disappear, clouds become rare, the sky remains clear, but completely black. It's a strange stillness, a silent world. Water wave oceans resist, but not forever. The oceans are still holding heat, for now. Their surface temperatures are dropping slowly, but because water stores energy, they are delaying the inevitable. Steam rises in some places where warm water meets freezing air. It looks almost peaceful, but it's temporary. Soon, even the oceans will begin to freeze. Paw print animals face extinction. Animals are now struggling. Herbivores lose access to plants. Plants need sunlight, and without it, they are dying. Carnivores hunt, but prey is disappearing. Food chains begin collapsing. Birds fall from the sky due to exhaustion and cold. Marine life still survives for now, but land animals, their time is running out. Seedling plants begin to die. Plants are the foundation of life, and now they are failing. Without sunlight, photosynthesis stops. No energy is produced within days. Most plants begin to die. Forests go dark. Leaves fall, grass withers. The earth's green color starts fading away. Day 5, extreme cold takes over. By the 5th day, temperatures in many regions fall below degrees C, -4 degrees F. Survival becomes extremely difficult, even with shelter. Without constant heat, humans cannot survive long. Water sources freeze. Food supplies become limited. Everything slows down. Even the air feels heavier. Globe showing Europe, Africa, day 7. 1 week without the sun. After 1 week, Earth is no longer the planet we recognize. Average temperatures drop even further, heading toward degrees C, -40 degrees F in many areas. Oceans begin freezing at the surface, not completely, but enough to show what's coming. Entire continents are covered in ice and snow. The planet is turning into a frozen world. Milky Way, a silent, frozen Earth. Now imagine looking at Earth from space. No city lights, no movement, just a dark sphere, with patches of white ice spreading across it, floating silently through space. A dead planet. In the making, in just 1 week. Life on Earth is collapsing. Plants are dying. Animals are disappearing. Temperatures are dropping beyond survival. And the planet is freezing, but the worst is still ahead. Because in the coming months, the oceans will freeze completely. The atmosphere will begin to collapse, and Earth will become something unrecognizable. It has now been 1 month since the sun disappeared. 30 days without light, 30 days without warmth, 30 days of endless night. And now, Earth is no longer just cold, it is becoming unrecognizable. Thermometer, the temperature collapse. After 1 month, the average global temperature has dropped to around degrees C to -50 degrees C. In many regions, it's even colder. Places that were once warm, tropical forests, deserts, coastal cities, are now frozen landscapes. The difference between regions is disappearing because without the sun, there is no climate, no seasons, no variation, just cold. Oceans begin to freeze. For weeks, the oceans resisted, holding on to their heat, but now, even they are losing the battle. The surface of the oceans begins to freeze. At first, a thin layer forms, then it grows thicker, day by day, centimeter by centimeter. Eventually, a solid sheet of ice starts covering vast areas, but underneath, liquid water still exists. For now, water wave a hidden world below ice. Beneath the frozen surface, the ocean is still alive. Heat from Earth's core keeps deep waters from freezing immediately. Some marine life survives in these dark, cold depths. Fish, microorganisms, strange deep-sea creatures. They don't rely directly on sunlight, but even they are affected because the food chain above them is collapsing slowly. Life below begins to struggle too, sealing the end of plant life. By now, almost all plant life on the surface is gone. Forests stand like skeletons, trees without leaves. Grass turned to frozen dust. Crops have completely failed. Photosynthesis stopped weeks ago, and without energy, plants could not survive. The green earth has turned gray, white, and lifeless. Paw prints animals near extinction. Animals are now facing total collapse. Herbivores have no food. Carnivores have no prey. Cold temperatures kill faster than hunger. Most species cannot adapt this quickly. Extinction is no longer a future event. It is happening now. Some small populations may survive temporarily, but the majority of life on land is gone. Cityscape cities frozen in time. Human cities now look like frozen ruins. Skyscrapers are covered in ice. Windows shattered long ago. Snow and frost fill empty streets. Cars are buried under layers of ice. Nothing moves, nothing changes. It's like time has stopped. A snapshot of a world that once existed. When the atmosphere begins to change, something deeper is happening now. The atmosphere itself is reacting. Without sunlight, gases in the air begin to cool. Some gases start to condense. Moisture in the atmosphere freezes and falls as snow. Over time, the air becomes thinner, colder, less active. The sky remains black, silent, endless, high voltage, the end of energy. At this stage, all forms of human-generated energy are gone. No power plants, no electricity, no heat systems. Everything that once powered civilization is dead. The only energy left on Earth comes from within the planet itself. Geothermal heat and radioactive decay, small but not enough to save the surface. Milky Way Earth as a rogue planet. Earth is now far from its original path. It has been drifting through space. For a month alone, no sun, no solar system, just a cold, wandering planet from a distance. It would look like a dark, frozen sphere, almost invisible. In the vastness of space, the march toward absolute cold. Temperatures continue to fall, slowly but constantly, heading toward extreme levels, toward -100 degrees C and beyond. Not instantly, but inevitably, because without a source of heat, there is only one direction left, colder, darker still, after 1 month. Earth is no longer a living world. It is becoming a frozen wasteland. Oceans are turning to ice. Life is disappearing. The atmosphere is changing, and the planet is drifting deeper into darkness. But the story doesn't end here, because in the coming years, even the air will begin to freeze, the oceans will solidify completely, and Earth will become a silent, frozen relic. It has now been 1 full year since the sun disappeared, 12 months of darkness, 12 months of falling temperatures, 12 months without life as we know it. And now, Earth is no longer just cold, it is frozen. Thermometer, the final temperature drop. After 1 year, The average surface temperature of Earth has dropped to nearly degrees C to minus 80 degrees C. In some regions, even colder. This is far beyond the survival limit of most known life. The cold is no longer something you can feel. It is something that defines the planet itself. Every surface, every object, every landscape is locked in ice. Oceans turn to solid ice. The oceans, once the most powerful force on Earth, are now silent. The surface ice layer has grown incredibly thick, hundreds of meters in some places. It stretches across entire oceans, turning them into frozen plains. But deep below the surface, something still exists. Water wave, the last liquid water. Far beneath the ice, the deepest parts of the oceans remain liquid. Why? Because of heat from Earth's core. This geothermal energy slows the freezing process. In these hidden, dark depths, some forms of life may still survive. Microorganisms, extremophiles, creatures that don't rely on sunlight. But even here, conditions are becoming harsher. Food is nearly gone. Energy is limited. Life is fading. Slowly, when the atmosphere begins to freeze. Now something extraordinary happens. The atmosphere itself starts freezing at extremely low temperatures. Gases like carbon dioxide begin to condense into solid form. They fall from the sky like snow, not water snow, but frozen gas, layer by layer. The atmosphere becomes thinner. The air pressure drops. Breathing, if it were possible, would become impossible. Milky Way, a black, airless sky. The sky has not changed for a year. Still black, still filled with stars. But now, it feels closer, because the atmosphere is no longer thick enough to scatter light. There is no glow, no haze, just a clear, endless view of space. Earth now looks more like a distant, lifeless planet than the world we once knew. Snow landscapes turn to ice deserts. Every continent is now an ice desert. Mountains are covered in frozen layers. Oceans are solid. Rivers are gone. Lakes are frozen completely. There is no movement of water, no rain, no snowstorms, because the atmosphere has lost most of its moisture. The planet is still, completely still. Cityscape, the final state of cities. Human cities still exist, but barely. Skyscrapers are cracked and weakened. Metal structures are brittle from extreme cold. Concrete has fractured over time. Buildings begin collapsing under their own weight, not because of explosions or disasters, but because materials cannot survive such cold forever. Cities slowly crumble, piece by piece. High voltage, no energy, no motion. At this stage, there is no usable energy left on the surface. No sunlight, no electricity, no movement. Everything is frozen in place. Even chemical reactions slow down dramatically. Time itself feels slower because nothing is changing. Globe showing Europe, Africa, Earth becomes a dead planet. After 1 year, Earth is no longer alive, not on the surface. No plants, no animals, no ecosystems, only ice, rock, and silence. If you were to stand here, you would see a world that looks like another planet entirely. Unfamiliar, unforgiving, uninhabitable. Milky Way drifting through the universe. Earth continues its journey through the darkness of space. No orbit, no path, just drifting endlessly. It may pass near other stars one day, or it may wander forever, alone, a frozen memory of what once was. After 1 year, the transformation is complete. Earth is frozen, the oceans are sealed, the air is disappearing, and life is gone. But even now, the story isn't over, because in the coming centuries, even the deepest oceans will freeze. The planet will become colder than we can imagine, and Earth will become a silent, drifting relic of the universe. It has now been 100 years since the sun disappeared, a full century of darkness, 100 years without warmth, 100 years of slow, unstoppable freezing. And now, Earth is no longer just a dead planet. It is a frozen relic, thermometer temperatures beyond imagination. After 100 years, the surface temperature of Earth has dropped to nearly minus 150 degrees C to minus 200 degrees C. Colder than Antarctica, colder than the coldest places ever recorded. This is a level of cold where nothing behaves normally. Materials become brittle. Metals crack. Even gases struggle to remain in the air, win the frozen atmosphere. By now, most of Earth's atmosphere has changed dramatically. Carbon dioxide has long since frozen and settled on the surface. Water vapor is completely gone from the air. Even nitrogen and oxygen have started to condense in extreme regions. The atmosphere is now thin, weak, barely present. If you stood on Earth now, there would be almost no air to breathe. The sky would appear completely black, even at ground level. Oceans frozen to the depths. The oceans, once full of life, are now almost entirely frozen. The ice layer is kilometers thick. What was once liquid water is now solid from top to bottom in many areas. In the deepest parts, there may still be tiny pockets of liquid water, kept alive by geothermal heat, but they are rare, isolated, and slowly disappearing. Globe showing Europe, Africa, the surface of Earth. Earth now looks nothing like the blue planet we remember. There is no blue, no green, only shades of white, gray, and black. Frozen oceans stretch endlessly. Continents are covered in ice. Mountains are buried beneath frozen layers. From space, Earth would look like a dim, icy sphere, almost invisible. Against the darkness of space, escape the complete collapse of cities. After 100 years, human structures have mostly collapsed. Skyscrapers have fallen, bridges have broken, roads have disappeared under ice. The extreme cold has destroyed materials at a molecular level. Steel has cracked, concrete has crumbled. Glass shattered long ago. There are no more cities, only ruins. Buried beneath ice, atom the only remaining energy. At this stage, the only energy left on Earth comes from deep inside. Geothermal heat, radioactive decay, tiny amounts, compared to what the sun once provided, but still enough to create small pockets of warmth. Deep underground, far below the surface, hidden from the frozen world above, DNA. Could anything still survive? This is the most important question. Is life completely gone on the surface? Yes, nothing can survive here, but deep underground, or near hydrothermal vents in the ocean, there is a small possibility. Microorganisms, extremophiles, life forms that don't need sunlight, that survive on chemical energy. They may still exist, barely, holding on. In a world that has become completely hostile, Milky Way, Earth's journey through space. For 100 years, Earth has been traveling through the galaxy. Alone, it is no longer part of a solar system. It is a rogue planet, drifting through interstellar space. It may pass near distant stars, but the chances of capture are extremely small. Most likely, it will continue drifting forever. Shooting star, a planet without identity. Earth once had an identity, a home for life, a world full of oceans, forests, and movement. Now, it is just another frozen object in space, no different from countless other lifeless worlds. Its history, its life, its story, all erased from the surface. Hourglass not done. Time continues. Even now, time hasn't stopped. The freezing continues, slowly, relentlessly. The little heat that remains is still escaping into space, and with every passing year, Earth becomes colder, darker, more silent. After 100 years, Earth is unrecognizable. The atmosphere is nearly gone. The oceans are frozen solid. Cities have vanished, and life has almost completely disappeared. But even this is not the end, because in the far future, millions of years from now, Earth will become even colder, even more silent. It has now been 1 million years since the sun disappeared. Not decades, not centuries, 1 million years of darkness, 1 million years of silence, 1 million years of a planet drifting alone through space. Thermometer, the cold has reached its limit. After such a long time, Earth has reached an almost stable temperature, around minus 220 degrees C to minus 240 C. This is close to the natural temperature of deep space. There is no more heat left to lose. The planet has reached equilibrium, a balance between the tiny heat from its core and the endless cold of the universe, a frozen sphere in space. From a distance, Earth looks like a dark, frozen sphere. No glow, no atmosphere, no movement, just a silent object. Floating through the galaxy, there are no oceans anymore, only layers of solid ice and frozen rock. Continents are no longer visible. Everything is buried beneath thick ice sheets. When the atmosphere is gone. After 1 million years, Earth has lost almost all of its atmosphere. Most gases have either frozen onto the surface or slowly escaped into space. There is no air, no wind, no weather. The sky is not even a sky anymore. It's just space, seen directly from the surface. The oceans are permanent ice. The oceans that once covered most of Earth are now completely solid, kilometers deep, hard as rock. No movement, no waves, no life. The water that once supported billions of living organisms is now a frozen memory, locked in place forever. DNA, the fate of life. At this point, life as we know it is gone. Even the deepest microorganisms, even extremophiles near geothermal vents, could not survive forever. Energy sources ran out, chemical reactions slowed, and eventually stopped. Earth is now completely lifeless. No cells, no DNA, no evolution, just silence. Cityscape, no trace of civilization. After 1 million years, human civilization is completely erased. No buildings, no cities, no monuments. Everything has collapsed, eroded, and been buried under ice. Even the strongest structures could not survive this long. Only faint traces may remain deep underground, but on the surface, there is nothing left to prove that humans ever existed. Milky Way, Earth as a rogue planet. Earth continues drifting through the galaxy. It is now officially a rogue planet, a planet without a star. There are billions of such planets in the universe, invisible, cold, forgotten. Earth has become one of them, shooting star passing through the galaxy. Over millions of years, Earth may pass near other stars. It might briefly enter distant solar systems, but the chances of being captured by a star are extremely low, most likely. It will continue traveling alone, forever. Hourglass, not done. Time has no meaning here. On Earth now, time feels meaningless. There are no days, no nights, no seasons, just endless darkness. 1 million years feels no different from 1,000, because nothing changes, nothing moves, nothing lives. New Moon, a planet without a story. Earth once had a story, oceans formed, life began, civilizations rose, but now there is no one left to remember it, no one to tell the story, no one to even know it happened. The planet exists, but its meaning is gone. After 1 million years, Earth is completely dead. No life, no air, no oceans, just a frozen world, drifting silently through space. But the universe continues. Stars are born, galaxies collide, and somewhere new worlds are forming. Earth's story may be over, but the story of the universe never ends, and any remaining traces of life will finally disappear. It has been millions of years since Earth lost the sun, a frozen, lifeless world, drifting silently through the galaxy. No light, no warmth, no life, just endless darkness, but the universe is never truly still, because space is not empty. It is filled with stars, billions of them, and one day, Earth may get close to one, Milky Way a chance encounter. As Earth travels through the Milky Way, it slowly moves through regions filled with distant stars. Most of the time, nothing happens. Stars are incredibly far apart, but over millions or even billions of years, there is a tiny chance that Earth passes close to another star system, not a direct collision, but close enough to feel its gravity, balance the pull of a new star. At first, the change would be subtle, a small shift in direction, a gentle curve in Earth's path. Then, the pull becomes stronger. Earth is no longer drifting freely, it is being captured, slowly, pulled into orbit around a new star, a new sun with face the first light in millions of years. After millions of years of darkness, something incredible happens. Light returns. At first, it's just a distant glow, a small star growing brighter in the sky, for a frozen planet that has known only darkness. This is something unimaginable. As Earth moves closer, the light becomes stronger, warmer, for the first time in ages. Sunlight touches the surface again. Ice meets heat. The surface of Earth is still frozen solid. Kilometers of ice cover the oceans. The atmosphere is almost gone. The planet is lifeless, but now, energy is returning, slowly. The surface begins to absorb heat. Temperatures start to rise, not quickly, but steadily. Water wave, the slow thaw begins. As centuries pass, the outer layers of ice begin to melt. At first small patches, then larger areas. Water begins to flow again. Rivers start forming. Oceans begin to reappear slowly from beneath the ice. Steam rises into the thin atmosphere. Clouds begin forming again. The planet starts changing. Wind atmosphere rebuilds. With rising temperatures, frozen gases trapped in ice begin to release. Carbon dioxide, water vapor, slowly return to the atmosphere. Volcanoes deep within Earth may also release gases. Over time, a new atmosphere begins forming, thin at first, but growing. Seedling, could life return? This is the biggest question. Can life come back? Earth once had life, but it has been gone for millions of years. However, life is incredibly resilient. If even the smallest microorganisms survived deep underground or within frozen layers, there is a possibility, a tiny spark could restart everything. DNA, the second beginning. If conditions become right, life could begin again, not the same as before, not humans, not animals as we know them, but simple organisms, slowly evolving, over millions of years. Life could return, from microscopic cells to complex ecosystems, a second story of Earth, completely different from the first. Globe showing Europe, Africa, a new world. The new Earth would not look like the old one. Continents may have shifted. Oceans may be in different shapes. Atmosphere may be different. Even the new star could be different from our sun. Hotter, colder, more unstable. This would be a completely new planet with a completely new future. Shooting star or total destruction. But there is another possibility. Not all encounters are gentle. If Earth gets too close to a star, the heat could become extreme. Ice would melt rapidly. Oceans could boil. The surface could crack, or worse, the planet could be torn apart by gravity, destroyed completely, turning into debris, lost forever. Hourglass, not done a matter of chance. Everything depends on distance, angle, speed. The universe doesn't plan, it doesn't care. Earth's future would be decided by pure chance. After millions of years of darkness, there is still a possibility, a second chance, a new star, a new beginning, or a final end. The universe is unpredictable, and even a dead planet like Earth could one day be reborn. The The sun is gone, the earth is frozen, the surface is dead. But one question still remains. Could humans have survived, not on the surface, but somewhere else? The survival instinct. Humans are not the strongest species. We don't have claws, we don't have thick fur. We can't survive extreme cold naturally, but we have something more powerful: intelligence, the ability to adapt, to build, to survive in environments we were never meant to live in. So, could that have saved us? Snow going underground. If humans had even a little warning, the best chance of survival would be underground, deep beneath the surface. The temperature is very different. Even if the surface drops to minus 100 degrees C or lower, a few kilometers underground, the temperature can still be relatively stable, warmer, more survivable. Fire, geothermal heat, the last energy source. Deep inside Earth, heat still exists. This is called geothermal energy. It comes from the planet's core, and it doesn't depend on the sun. If humans could reach this heat, they could use it for warmth, for energy, for survival. Underground bases near geothermal hotspots could become the last human shelters, building underground cities. Imagine this: massive underground cities, built deep below the surface, protected from the freezing world above, artificial lighting systems, hydroponic farms growing food without sunlight, recycled air systems, controlled environments. Everything designed for survival, not comfort, not luxury, just survival. Seedling growing food without the sun. Without sunlight, traditional farming is impossible, but humans have alternatives: hydroponics, growing plants using water and nutrients instead of soil, artificial lights powered by geothermal energy. But there's a limit. Energy is limited, space is limited. Food production would be slow, every resource would matter, droplet water still available. Even in a frozen world, water exists: underground reservoirs, deep aquifers, and even melted ice near geothermal zones. Water would not be the biggest problem. Managing it would be. Wind, air, and oxygen. Humans need oxygen. Plants produce it using sunlight, but without the sun, this becomes a challenge. Artificial ecosystems would be required. Recycling air continuously, balancing oxygen and carbon dioxide, a delicate system. One failure, and everything collapses. High voltage, the biggest problem: energy. Energy is survival. Without enough energy, nothing works. No heat, no food production, no air systems. Geothermal energy can help. But it's not infinite, and not available everywhere. Only specific locations on Earth have strong geothermal activity, meaning only a small number of people could survive. Male population collapse. Even if survival is possible, it would not be for everyone. Billions of humans, impossible, maybe thousands, maybe less. Only those with access to resources, technology, and preparation would have a chance. Human civilization would shrink to a tiny fraction of its former self. Brain psychological struggle. Survival isn't just physical, it's mental. Imagine living your entire life underground. No sky, no sunlight, no natural world, just artificial lights. An endless darkness outside. Generations would grow up never seeing the sun, never knowing what Earth once looked like. The psychological impact would be massive. Hourglass not done. How long could humans last, even with perfect systems? Survival is temporary. Resources will run out, systems will fail, energy sources will weaken. Over hundreds or thousands of years, humanity would slowly decline, until eventually it disappears. DNA. Could humans adapt? Could humans evolve for this environment? Possibly, over many generations. Humans might adapt to underground life, better vision in low light, different biological changes. But evolution takes time, and survival systems may not last long enough. Milky Way, the final possibility. There is one more possibility: escape. If humans had advanced technology, they could try to leave Earth, travel to another star system, find another habitable planet, but this would require time, preparation, and technology far beyond what we have today. So, could humans survive a world without the sun? Maybe, for a while, in small numbers, deep underground, using the last energy Earth can provide. But eventually, even that would not be enough, because without the sun, Earth is no longer a home. It's just a temporary shelter in a universe that is cold, dark, and unforgiving. Take a moment and imagine everything we've just seen. The sun disappears, darkness covers the Earth, temperatures fall, oceans freeze, the atmosphere vanishes, life disappears, and the planet becomes a frozen rock drifting through space. Sun with face, the power we never noticed. The sun feels ordinary. It rises every day. It sets every evening. We don't think about it. We don't question it because it has always been there. But now you understand something important. The sun is not just a star. It is the reason everything exists. Globe showing Europe, Africa, every breath you take. Every breath you take is connected to the sun. Plants use sunlight to create oxygen. Without sunlight, there is no oxygen, no air, no life. Even the food you eat comes from the sun, directly or indirectly. Plants grow using sunlight. Animals eat plants. We eat both. Everything traces back to that one source. Water, wave, oceans, weather, life. The oceans move because of the sun. Winds form because of the sun. Rain falls because of the sun. Every system on Earth is powered by it. Remove the sun, and everything stops, not slowly but completely. A fragile existence. We often think of Earth as strong, stable, permanent, but in reality, it is fragile, perfectly balanced, dependent on conditions that can change: the distance from the sun, the amount of energy we receive, the atmosphere that protects us. Everything is connected. Everything is temporary. Milky Way, our place in the universe. The universe is vast, cold, and mostly empty. There are billions of planets out there, but most of them are lifeless, frozen, dark, just like Earth would become without the sun. What makes our planet special is not just that it exists, but that it has the right conditions for life, and the sun is the most important of those conditions. Hourglass, not done, a reminder of reality. This scenario may never happen. The sun will not suddenly disappear. It will live for billions of years. But one day, far in the future, it will change, it will expand, and Earth will no longer be the same, not because the sun vanishes, but because everything in the universe has an end. The real question. So the question is not, what would happen if the sun disappeared? The real question is, what are we doing with the time we have under its light, seedling a world worth protecting? Because right now, we have something rare, a planet full of life, oceans, forests, animals, humans. A world that works because of a perfect balance, and the sun sitting at the center of it all. Sunrise, the next sunrise. The next time you see a sunrise, think about it. That light has traveled millions of kilometers just to reach you. It brings warmth, energy, life. It keeps this entire planet alive, and without it, nothing you know would exist. The sun is not just above us. It is within everything around us, every living thing, every movement, every moment. And for now, it is still there, still shining, still giving life. And maybe that's the most important thing to remember. We don't live on Earth, we live because of the sun.